that why you're here? Because you got fucking those jeans on? Look at this clown shoe, motherfucker. You clown shoe, motherfucker. You Nazi piece of shit. So we found those two microwave pieces of fucking dog shit hanging out in a vehicle in a neighborhood right as school kids were getting let out of school. So I've been doing rapid response all day long, and we found out that these two fucking Nazis were hanging out in a vehicle. You can see them right here, just sitting there. Observers showed up, rapid responders showed up, and, you know, blew the whistles, honked the horns, alert the neighborhood, and told them, get the fuck out of the neighborhood. And they literally yelled and screamed at them until they finally left, because that's the goal, to get them the fuck out of the neighborhood before they can kidnap somebody. So I just want to let everybody know something. Minneapolis is still full of fucking ICE agents. You haven't heard a lot from me on social media the last few days because I've been out doing rapid response, like actively responding to them. And several times we've stopped people from getting kidnapped because the rapid response network does work. And so this drawdown of 700 agents, all this shit that they're doing, it's just optics to make you think that they're calming shit down or that they're leaving Minneapolis. No, they're still here. They're still fucking kidnapping people. Shit's still hot. Shit's still really fucking bad. And until ICE is completely out of Minnesota, then fuck all the other little fancy little deals they're making with the government. I'm calling on the governor. I'm calling on the mayor. I'm calling on the fucking elected officials in Minnesota. ICE out now.
Move, goddammit! You need to move now. You can go.
There's people in front of her.
Move out of the way. Move out of the way. Move out of the way. Move up.
Why didn't you get out of your car, pussy? With your crutches fucking packed. I'm gonna go home and fuck your dad.
Get a new job, you fucking loser! Stop doing it!
Hey, watch where you spray that.
He's a German immigrant!
Oh, come on!
Come on!
Good fight.
Everybody start throwing shit at me!
Yeah, we're good.
Wait! Hey! Fuck you, man!
I got you on video! I got your face, motherfucker! I got your face, motherfucker!
Watch your back. You can't see what the fuck's happening? Shut up. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, exactly. Watch your back. Watch your back. Another car. One more car. One more car. They got out. Are we in Germany?
Stop!
He said he doesn't have to show a warrant.
How can I relax? You just killed my neighbor!
You raise your voice, I raise your voice.
I've had enough.
Enough with the warrantless arrests.
Enough with the illegal home entry.
Enough with the violent assault.
Federal officers do not have absolute immunity.
They do not have permission to break the law. And they do not have the right to violate your constitutional rights.
And they certainly do not have the unchecked power
To deprive you of your life and liberty.
I am a prosecutor.
I am a district attorney.
I'm a prosecutor.
I am a district attorney.
I am a district attorney.
I am a prosecutor.
And we're coming together from around the country
To fight against federal overreach.
FAFO will not tolerate these abuses of power.
We will work together to make sure federal officers
Uphold the law in our states and cities.
Where federal officers break the law, they will be prosecuted.
no one
No one
no one
No one is above the law.
Learn more about us at federaloverreach.org.
You've had enough?
And we hear you.
And hit the like and hit the thumbs up because it does affect the algorithm and more people become aware of our conversation and our show. And today is a really important one, and it's important for our democracy and to the Constitution of the United States and what the amendment that I believe is the bedrock of our democracy, and that is the First Amendment. Freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom to peaceably assemble, all of those things. This encapsulates all of that. And I'm glad that at least to the extent that it has, that people are realizing the critical moment that we're in this country, that our rights are under assault. It may have started with people having their due process rights violated on the streets, violently violated on the streets. But now they're trying to silence journalists, and I will not be silenced. And I think journalists should not be silenced. I think this is a very critical time for journalists in this country to stand up to this tyrannical administration. And look, journalists are going to be, I believe they can be the folks that save us. I actually believe that artists will be the people that save us as well. And
why is Bad Bunny driving the Republican Party, or many of them, completely insane? Well, he's driving them insane because, one, most of his music is in Spanish, which is apparently completely offensive for some reason to a lot of people in the Republican Party. The second reason is he decided not to do big stadium events in sort of the continental mainland United States, and instead decided to basically do a residency in Puerto Rico. And that was for a range of reasons, to honor the people of Puerto Rico, but also because, and this is a big one, he didn't want to give ICE the ability to show up at these stadium tours and arrest people. And that, of course, is driving them insane. Well, he just won a Grammy, and he got up at the Grammys, and here's what he had to say.
Before I say thanks to God, I'm gonna say eyes out.
So if they weren't already feeling crazed, they felt more crazed. And here's my favorite detail. Tommy Tuberville, who is not exactly an earth-shattering genius barn burner of a senator, and the only thing he's really known for is that he is a former college football coach, okay? He went to the Super Bowl last year with Trump. Football obviously is a love and a passion of his. He has decided, he's come out there and basically said, I'm not going to be watching the halftime show for the Super Bowl. I am going to not observe this. Here's what he had to say, which I think is quite telling.
Unfortunately, we've got, I call it the woke bowl, because we're getting more and more woke, and we got Bad Bunny or Bad Rabbit at halftime. I'll be watching the TPUSA halftime show,
yeah,
but it's just unfortunate we've gotten to this point.
I mean, unfortunate that there is a Grammy-winning superstar artist who's willing to perform at the Super Bowl in the United States of America, which bazillions of people will watch. That guy is a massive football fan, and he is, I guess maybe he'll be watching the Super Bowl, who knows, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be there like he was last year. Not that there's like a big chant asking for Tommy Tuberville to come to the Super Bowl.
Posted this. You probably woke up this morning and found out about it because he did it at like 1 o'clock in the morning or sometime in the middle of the night because he's sundowning, because he's old and he stays up late sundowning. He sits on the White House shitter at 3 o'clock in the morning, rage tweeting on Timu Twitter, and he puts up racist, hateful shit like a picture of the former president of the United States, AI generated onto the head of a monkey. Which is, by the way, everybody knows this is a racist trope towards black people. So let's quit pretending like it wasn't racist and racial like the White House is trying to do. It has everything to do with race. I don't give a fuck. I'm no longer fucking responding to your gaslighting. Okay? But the feeling of exhaustion I have that the entire country isn't fucking up in arms and enraged that this guy posted that, or that this guy's doing all the other things he's doing, breaking up families, kidnapping people. Listen, when I said many, many years ago, I did a whole TED Talk on this, by the way. When I said in my TED Talk Donald Trump didn't usher in white supremacy. White supremacy ushered in Donald Trump. Donald Trump was put into office by white nationalism, by divisive conspiracy theories, and by a long history of white supremacy in this country. And then I heard people saying things like, oh, did he really post that? Did you check? Is that AI? Of course he really posted it. Do you not see what he always posts, especially at 1 o'clock in the morning when he's sundowning? Of course he posted. The question shouldn't be, did he post it? The question should be, why the fuck is he allowed to continue to do this bullshit? And then there was a tweet or a statement that came out from the White House saying it was a staffer. Staffer did it, and it's been taken down. But what the White House statement didn't say was that staffer was held accountable, because this is racist and egregious and wrong, and that staffer was fired, and this is not the position of the administration, and we don't stand or believe this way. They didn't say any of that. So don't pay attention to what they're saying. Pay attention to what they're not saying. What they're not saying is that it's not okay. What they're not saying is that, we apologize to former President Barack Obama and everyone who's offended by this. They didn't say any of that. They're just trying to say, Trump didn't do it. He did. Anyway, people are way more shocked than they should be, because if you haven't figured it out by now, maybe this is your chance to. This whole thing is white supremacy. It's not Donald Trump, it's white supremacy. The faster you figure out that MAGA is just the Confederacy rebranded, the faster we can get to a solution.
We're back with some breaking news out of Fulton County, Georgia. The county has just filed a new motion in federal court requesting that the FBI return the 2020 election ballots and related records it seized in a raid last week. Let's bring in MS Now reporter Josh Einiger with the latest here. What's the county arguing in this new legal motion?
Well, Anna, the motion is officially under seal, so we don't know the details of the motion specifically, and they have not released it yet, although they're right now meeting in a county commission hearing right now in Fulton County, so we're expecting them to say more potentially at a news conference this morning as well. But writ large, the big challenge for Fulton County is to just figure out how to get those ballots back. Again, 700 boxes of ballots and other related documents seized by the FBI last week as part of this apparent wide-ranging investigation, although no one in Fulton County really can say for sure who or what is the actual target of this investigation. The biggest concern, Anna, though, for election officials in Fulton County and for the Fulton County Commission is that they could somehow in all this lose control of their voting systems as the midterms are just around the corner and, of course, the next general election in 2028.
In an individual sport, what an honor for her.
There is the Vice President, J.D. Vance, and his wife, Usha. Ooh, those are not, those are a lot of boos for him. Whistling, jeering, some applause. Not a long shot of him.
It's time for the trucker John live stream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah, the Trucker John live stream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John live stream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit, hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the Trucker John live stream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John live stream is the best thing you've ever seen.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Good to see all your bright and shiny faces today. Let's see, am I on? Let's make sure. Yep, there I am. All right, you can hear me okay? All right, so here we are. It is 11:18 a.m. in the Pacific time zone. And right now we're sitting at about 69 degrees. High today will be 74. We've got spring-like conditions here in Las Vegas. Even out here on the outer rim where I'm at, out here on Boulder Highway. Yeah, it's been really warm and crazy. But like I've said, I guess we'll just enjoy it while we can. Enjoy it before we burn up. I thank all the sparklers for making the raid on over. Thanks for coming over. I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks, Hal and everybody for doing that. Let's go ahead and fill that blank spot real quick here. I think it's only appropriate. What they say, turnabout is fair play. So there you go. There you go, old Trumpy. That's for you, buddy. That's for you, Donald. There you go. Planet of the Rapes. I guess I should have said Planet of the Grapes because they've been dinging me lately for that, for not saying rape. I think I've been getting dinged in a way. Anyhow, thanks for being here. I do appreciate you guys. So yeah, in the intro, the clips. Here we are. Are you guys gonna watch Super Bowl? Are you gonna watch Bad Bunny? I'm going to watch Super Bowl. Yeah, Bad Bunny will be on during the halftime. I'll be getting probably some more food. Probably taking a bathroom break. But yeah, I'll be watching it. That's for sure. Just want to say hello to everybody. We got Paul Burrows was in here. Sandy Foltz with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Yippee to Sandy. There's a thumbs up and a heart for you. Jolie's here. Mud. Hey, Mud. Coming on over from... I believe from House Sparks. So there, Williams here. Tim Farrell, the Farrell one. Good to see Tim Farrell. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you. Nevitz Forever is here. Hal 9000 Raid. Thanks for coming over. Appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. We got Bruce. Ruben Michaels is over here. Says fuck ice Nazis. We've got Aaron and Jolie. Both Aaron and Jolie are here today as my mods. So you know what that means, everybody. La, 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 la. That means we're at full mod capacity. Full mod capacity. We're at full mod capacity. Anyhow, there we are. Victor Harshman's here. Hello, Victor. Good to see you. Victor says that Aaron Parnas is reporting ICE will be at the Super Bowl. They're everywhere. They're like these maggoty little cockroaches that you're just trying to get rid of. You know what they need? They need to get those combat traps because I put those in my apartment thanks to some suggestions by some of you folks here, like Fancy was one of them who suggested it. And I don't want to jinx myself, knock on wood, but I have not seen nary a bug in weeks since I put those combat traps. It took a little while, to really, take effect, but I think they're really working. So we need some combat traps for these ice maggots. Anyhow, Nevitz Forever says it's balmy 23 in Minneapolis right now. Yeah, get out the suntan lotion. Break out the Bermuda shorts. It's a balmy 23 up there in Minneapolis, don't you know? Barbara Nicholas is here. Hello, Barbara Nicholas. I can't wait to get shagged out of the apartment. We got Eleni. Eleni's here. Hey, Eleni, good to see you. I think I just got beamed in. Well, thanks for. I don't know if you're still here or not, but maybe you're here because these posts are a little bit old now. So, Some people might have checked in and checked out. Bob LeBlanc. Bob LeBlanc is here. Hey, Bob, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Nevets Forever with important advice. Yes, always heed this one. It says, don't eat yellow snow. That's very sage advice there. 56 Nick Rich is here. Hey, Nick, good to see you. Nick was like number 27, because I looked over there and I see we've got 65 likes. But Nick was like number 27. Hello, everyone. 1108. So what does that make me? About how many minutes behind am I? 15 minutes behind? Something like that? Ruben Michaels, ice pigs are cowardice punks. They run in Nazi packs. It just wears you down. They wear you down, man. Bethany Zarballs here. Hey, Bethany, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Penny to Create. Karma's coming for the thugs. Karma's a bitch. You know what they say? Karma's a bitch. Ba-da-da-da. Now I feel like I'm which way do I need to go? This way? Ooh, I do. I'm afraid to even touch this thing. You know what happens? I've touched the camera setup and then the whole thing ends up falling down. But I don't know. Okay. Don't be surprised if all of a sudden the shot goes all over the place because the thing is falling down. But anyhow, DPD 5844 is here. Good to see you. We got Ruben Michaels, Jolie, everybody. I'm just scrolling down here. Look at that. Squirrel Girls sent 5 Trucker John gift memberships. Yippee, going out to Squirrel Girl. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you. Great way to help support the show. And we've got those were sent out to Victor Harshman. Wow, it's fancy. Got one. Derek 209 WW. One of W's apparently one of his puppet accounts there, and Shirley Pulowski got one. So congratulations to all of the recipients, and I hope you will use the membership to its fullest extent. And yet, and everyone else, you can buy memberships for as low as $1.99 a month. That's a good deal if I ever saw one. All right, who else we got in here? In the old chat room. Anna Moore's here. Hey, Anna, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Oh, coming on in. Thank you for coming on in. Sandy Foltz is here. DVD says, do we really give a fuck what Hillbilly Tommy Tuberville thinks or cares about? Seriously? Well, I think it was to make the point about the whole Bad Bunny thing. Jin Saki was making the point about how Bad Bunny is driving MAGA and crazy, and she was using Tommy Tuberville as an example of that. But the thing wasn't about Tommy Tuberville; it was about MAGA's response to Bad Bunny playing at the Super Bowl halftime show. So let's not lose that message. Okay. Penny to Create says, Donald, there's a room with very cushy wallpaper waiting for you. He needs to go somewhere, anywhere but the White House. I mean, he needs a nice jail cell, a prison cell, a padded cell, but it should be a cell of some sort. Mud says, take the narrative from Trump. Don't let him dictate what we talk about. Yeah, well, that's what we're doing here. Surfer Norm says, I don't want to watch Bad Bunny, but if it pisses off MAGAs, I'll be there. How do they know if you're watching? I'm watching the Super Bowl. How do they know if I'm watching Bad Bunny? Specifically. Anyhow, Pity to Create says, when Donald announced his first candidacy, he slammed the Mexican people, always despicable racist. Yep. Barney Balcom, I wasn't shocked. The old man is showing us exactly who he is. Yep. When they tell you who they are, believe them, right? To paraphrase Maya Angelou, I don't think I exactly phrased it, but Mudd says white supremacy is just a vehicle for authoritarianism, which is only a vehicle for avoiding criminal accountability. Yep. White supremacy is the vehicle, is the tool to bring in totalitarianism. Yeah. You gotta create that that fear or that hatred of the other, and you have to create this illusion of this master race or this superior race, and that's how you divide people, and that's how you conquer. So there you go. I've just summarized the whole thing in one concise little sentence. Let's see. We've got Esri 447 I6J, who says Trump will destroy the Republican Party and possibly the entire U.S. Like everything else he touches. He is the opposite of a Midas touch. Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah, he's like the anti-Midas touch, I guess. I don't know. Barney Balcom, the FBI stole ballots. Now, those are the things, when they took those 700 boxes of ballots, as far as I'm concerned, whatever they try to do now, it's all been tainted. I mean, if they try to, if the Trump administration tries to come out and say, see, here's the 11,780 votes or whatever, they were right here the whole time. They were, it's all been tainted. Chain of custody has been destroyed and everything else. So I hope the American people don't fall for any of that horse shit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Anna Moore says, regarding the intro, DJT thinks that people are stupid and uneducated like he is. So, of course, they will give him the benefit of the doubt. If you still support this maggot, you are a racist. In case you didn't know. There might be a lot of people that don't know that they're racist. And so in case you didn't know it, if you're a follower or a supporter of Donald Trump, then you're probably a racist. And if you're not a racist, well, no, you're a racist. I can't sugarcoat it any other way. Because if you're racist adjacent, you're racist. If you're racist compliant or racist, you're tolerant of racism, then as far as I'm concerned, you're still a racist. Joyce Kehoe, I think it says, if you want to know why Trump is allowed to do this, look no further than to what the voters did in 1124. I'm not giving them a pass until we see what they do 1126. Yeah, I don't think we need to give anyone a pass, really. I mean, necessarily, but I think that I'm not sure about who's giving anyone a pass. We're just saying, hey, you guys fucked up, and please stop fucking up. Ruben Michaels says that Hillary was right about everything. Hillary and Kamala both were right, pretty spot on about everything, especially everything they said about Trump. And just about everything, right? I mean, yeah. And you want to know who else is right about everything? Trucker John. Pretty Too Great says, May Trump's sycophants and enablers face the karma they've earned. Yeah, Barney Balcom, Renee looks so sweet in that photo. She was a good person. Absolutely, she was a good person. Did not do anything that deserved her fate. You know, not. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone says. She did not deserve to be murdered by a fucking ICE agent or by anyone. You know. Nick Rich, 11:18. So I think I'm like 15 minutes behind. DPD, has anyone seen stories about Jeffrey Epstein being alive? I just saw the pictures that Hal was posting, that one photo. That's the only thing I've heard about it. That's the first I heard of it, and that's the only thing I've heard of it. Anymore, I'm watching TJ on my phone and the Winter Olympics on my TV. Well, there you go. It's a good way to utilize your devices, if you know what I mean. Ruben Michael says Stephen Miller and his Nazi wife are living on a military base. I've heard that. Is that because he's so scared, maybe, and he's doing that for protection? Nevitz forever, a balmy 12 degrees Fahrenheit in eastern Pennsylvania. Brr. That's still cold. We got Elaney saying it feels like minus 23 in upstate New York with the wind chill. I heard you guys are going to get a bunch of snow, right? Like more snow than you've already gotten. On top of the snow that you have, I heard there's more snow, right? Yeah, you guys are cold. You're cold back there. -2 in Washington, Mount Washington, New Hampshire for Nevets Forever. Very, very cold. Teresa TAK is here. Hey, Teresa, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Nevitz is going to go skiing. That's, hey, you know, if you got snow and you got mountains, might as well go skiing if you can do it. You might as well. Paul Burrows says it's 40 degrees in St. Mary's, Idaho, which is really balmy. All jokes aside. Petrozzi says I usually don't watch the Super Bowl. But I'm not a fan of watching sports personally. I play them, I don't watch them. It's just for entertainment. You know, watching it's just like I consider it like any other form of entertainment, like watching a concert or a play or a movie. It's just entertainment, and we all have our different likes and dislikes of entertainment. You know, but I think we all do watch some sort of entertainment. You know, so to each their own. To each their own. DBD says it would be even better if the meme had the orange pedophile in a shit-filled diaper. Then we would need like a one shot, a long one. By a one shot, that means the body, the whole body shot. And so, you know, there's that. There's that going on. Who else we got in this old chat room here? Tim Farrell, the Farrell one's here. Hey, Tim, good to see you. Says, I'd like to see a moment at these Olympics like 68 with Americans on the podium with fists raised, heads down as a protest to Trump or something. That would be cool. That would be cool. I wonder if there's any U.S. Olympic athletes that are going to get a little political. That would be a pretty awesome moment. Yeah, if they could do some sort of an ice out or something like that. You know, they could just you know, in honor of or you know, apparently this is the new salute, the good old one finger salute. They could just do that. on the podium, be like, na, 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 you know. Oh, say, can you see? Yeah. They could do that, maybe. What a class act, right? Look at old Trump there. What a class act. That's the president. That's our president of the United fucking States. Who didn't like that someone called him out on being a fucking pedophile, rapist. Look at there. He flips him off. And by the way, the guy who did that apparently was suspended from his job. I think he got his job back, and he got a nice like $800,000 from GoFundMe or whatever type of a deal. So fuck you, Donald Trump. There you go, Mr. Ape. You grapist. The grapist in chief, Donald Trump. Let's see. Sandy Folt says, yesterday I got another package and it was on my porch. The tenant upstairs had opened it and took one of my soups. Then he had returned it back on the porch. I guess, you know, a finder's fee. That was his finder's fee, maybe. I don't know. Hey, Vicki Gordon here. First time with you, Trucker John Howdy from Montana. Hey, Vicki, thanks for being here. Appreciate you. I do hope you'll consider hanging out with us. If you're not, I'm 15 minutes behind. You might be gone already. I don't know. But if you haven't subscribed, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Hit that subscribe button and come in and hang out with us some more. I'm on a lot. My schedule used to be different. I don't know. I'm just on I'm on almost every day. So, but thanks for being here, Vicki. Good to see you. Thanks for joining the chat. Anyhow, Neves Forever says, as the song goes, Hotel California, you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. Okay. Sandy Fool says, all the stuff that was in the box was there except one soup that was returned. DPD's feeling better. I guess had a sore throat and stuff. So yeah, I hope you get better. Out there protesting in that cold Minnesota air. Be careful out there. Vicki Gordon says, I like and appreciate your meme karma post. He definitely is from another planet. Unfortunately, he's from this planet, and unfortunately, the stuff he's doing might be a lot more common than we thought. I mean, it seems like there's this whole society of people in these Epstein files that were engaged in human trafficking. And I'm hesitant to bring it up because I want to get more information on it. But like someone mentioned yesterday, Todd Blanche, who's like the assistant AG or, you know, assistant junior, senior regional backup manager AG, whatever the fuck he is, said that there were videos of, I believe the quote was, I think he said, of children being tortured and murdered. They have videos of that. Let's prosecute these motherfuckers. Why are we holding on to this stuff and we're not prosecuting? What the hell, you know? Anyhow, but this seems like a global membership in this little club here, you know, or maybe not so little. Maybe it's more widespread than we ever thought. I don't know. We ever imagined. Victor Harshman says, my wife and I went to a town hall last night to see Senator Jeff Merkley. He's been a good senator, but at 70, he seems not quite up for the fight. Oregon needs new leadership. Well, you know, yeah. That happens, you know, we get older. I'm at 65 and I'm losing energy, you know. So yeah, it happens. ESRL 447 I6J upvote y'all if you haven't. Good dude here. Well, thank you for that. I think you're talking about me. Yeah, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and share button. Buttons, the buttons, hit the buttons. Buttons, hit those buttons. As Riverboat Jack would say, what is it? Hit the goddamn button. Bob Newell's here. Hey, Mr. Bob Newell. Thanks for popping in. I do appreciate you. Mud, I'm thankful for it. And I'm thankful for it. Mr. Bob Newell, I can't hear you. Adopt, don't shop. I'm only going to watch Bad Bunny. Well, there you go. So that's a good thing. If you're not a regular Super Bowl watcher, and then all of a sudden the Super Bowl gets an extra billion people watching, I think we could probably say that Bad Bunny brought ratings. And that should be a good thing and a lesson to any corporate corporate big shots or whatever who might have thought Bad Bunny would be a bad idea. Nick Rich says, I was totally ignorant of Bad Bunny's music until all this controversy. I understand why he's a Grammy winner now. I had never heard of Bad Bunny until 2 or 3 years ago when I started doing rideshare. So this was in 2023, I believe. I think so, yeah. I'm trying to remember when I started doing Uber. What year that was. I think it was 2023. And Bad Bunny played here in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. And, I had seen concerts from Taylor Swift, which was huge. People flying in from all over the country to see Taylor Swift. Beyonce had huge concerts here at Allegiant Stadium. People coming all over the country, filling the stadium. And then Bad Bunny. And Bad Bunny was like a Beyonce or a Taylor Swift concert. And I'm like, who the fuck is Bad Bunny? And then, some of the passengers told me, oh, yeah, he's this great, he's Latin artist or whatever they would say, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But I had never heard of Bad Bunny until I was doing those ride shares and taking him to the concert. And he's, like I said, it was every bit as big as a Beyonce or Taylor Swift. And for those of you that don't know, Beyonce and Taylor Swift, especially in 2023, not that Taylor Swift isn't now or Beyonce isn't now, they're still huge. But I mean those were huge years tours for them, and Bad Bunny was every bit as big as them, at least in my what I saw here at Allegiant Stadium. Very, very huge artist, and I had never heard of him. I was like, Bad Bunny, what's this Bad Bunny thing? So there you go. Old white guy here, not hearing of Bad Bunny. Tic Thack says, I haven't the slightest interest in watching the Super Bowl, but I'll leech off someone to watch the halftime show and comment on it to boost its rating downstream. I think you boost the ratings by actually watching it on your own device, your own TV or whatever. That's how you boost the ratings. The best, probably. Anyhow, Bob Newell, different day, different headwear. I'm just going to say ESRL, I guess. I don't know. Says, I'm not a rap fan, but Bad Bunny is popular worldwide. MAGA's racism towards him will create ratings like never before. The likes of which have never been seen. To quote a famous ape president, a monkey president. Anna Moore says, we found out yesterday at the opening ceremonies in Italy what the world thinks of Trump administration. Embarrassing. Bob Newell, did I just hear Elvis? I don't know, did you? Oh, thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, Elvis. Where's Elvis? I don't know. I don't know where. I don't know where Elvis is right now. Well, I'm gonna sing a little ditty. Love me tender. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent. Oh, I heard voices. Anyone smell toast? Um, Bob Newell. It's not racist if it's true. What does that mean? What are you talking about? Vesta Bailey says when leaders celebrate barbarism and extreme selfishness and decadence becomes popular, I reappear to reset the balance. Known by many names, I return to redeem the world. Uh, Bahagavita, whatever. I've heard of I've heard of that person. Famous Hindu. Is that a Hindu or a Buddhist? I don't know. Who knows? David Windler says Blazing Saddles is free on YouTube. Still funny. Candygram for Mongo. Mongo. What was his line? Mongo no like or something. Punching out the horse is still it's still the funniest thing, and I'm sure it was a very well trained horse. No, the horse wasn't actually hurt. Um, so. Tick Tic Tac says I for sure will groove to Green Day. I like Green Day. I do like me some Green Day. It'll be interesting. I wonder if they that will it'll be. I'll be interested to find out if they're doing like a little mismatch or a little collab there with Bad Bunny and Green Day. That'd be pretty awesome. You know what I mean? That'd be pretty awesome. And it seems like they kind of do that when you have these different artists, and they'll sort of do a little mismatch. What do you call it? Matchup, mix up, mashup, a mashup. I'm hip. I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm talking about. I'm hip. A mashup. Uh, Sandy Foltz. I think the puppies on the Puppy Bowl play better football than the Buffalo Bills do. Sandy is still hurting. For those of you that don't know, Sandy is a big Buffalo Bills fan, and Sandy is still hurting from them being eliminated in the playoffs this year. So, Victor Harshman says that Tulsi Gabbard's office examined voting machines in Puerto Rico. That's right. That's right. Okay, the same machines in Fulton County. They can't redistrict, so they're just going to steal it now. Yeah. So what are they doing to those voting machines? I guess is the question. I suspect they're not doing anything though, actually. But I mean, or they're not going to get away with it. I don't think they're going to get away with if they've tampered with the machines to make them so they don't count Democratic votes or whatever. I don't think they can get away with that. So I don't know. DPD says I equate a person who doesn't know they are racist as synonymous with not knowing one is pregnant in the 9th month. Okay. Mr. Bob Newell says, I got you comped at the Desert Inn, ask for Rocco. Okay. Desert Inn doesn't exist anymore, but okay. Sandy Folds, you got to be stupid not to watch the Super Bowl. Watch the Puppy Bowl. Oh, Sandy. You're funny. Bob Newell, are casinos having watch parties? Oh, of course. There's watch parties all over the whole place. Vicky Gordon says 60s in Yellowstone Country, Montana. It's not right. We have had no winter to speak of. There must be something about this western side of the country where, because we haven't had a winter at all. I know Montana usually gets winters way more harsh than down here in Las Vegas. But even for us, this has been the warmest winter that I think I've ever experienced. And we usually get much cooler winters, even down here. So, you know, I think I've said everything about the. I've kind of been beating a dead horse about global warming, climate change, and how we should be worried about it. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe we're past the point of no return. I don't know. DPD says, has anyone seen the orange pedophile injecting himself into the kidnapping of Savannah Guthrie's mother? I heard a news report last night when I was driving, just about how they were still searching for her mother, for Savannah Guthrie's mother, and then they just said that Trump had contacted, I think, Savannah Guthrie. And I think that's all they said, something like that. Then he reached out to her, contacted her. And my only thought was, that's weird. That's kind of weird. Like, why is the president of the United States involving himself in and yeah, this is a sad thing that's going on. Savannah Guthrie's mother has apparently been abducted or kidnapped or whatever, and it's a sad story. But I just think it's kind of weird that the president of the United States is getting involved in it. Like, I don't know. It's not really if it doesn't involve like national security or something like that, then I don't think the president should be sticking his nose in every little thing, other than he's just trying to glom on, get some sort of, PR out of it. It's just like a PR stunt. ESRL says the president of the United States is about to have UFC fights on the White House lawn. I think I heard something about that too, which is ridiculous. Tim Roth is here. Hey, Tim is currently watching ice skating. Yeah, I guess we got the Olympics are on full display. DPD, he did get to keep his job. Are you talking about Tuberville now? I don't know who you're talking about. Teresa TAK says, what a-hole president we have, so embarrassing to America and the world. We are the embarrassment of the world. Isolda Zin's here. Hey, Isolda, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. I appreciate you. We got, well, I already said hi to Shirley, but hello again, Shirley. Excuse me. I am known to sneeze on the show. Nick Rich 1141 in Vegas. TJ is never more than a half hour behind. It all depends on what catches his interest. So right now, I think I'm only, what am I, 17 minutes behind? 17 minutes behind you, Nick Rich. I'm 17 minutes behind. I'm 17 minutes behind you, Nick Rich. I'm only 17 little bitty, itty bitty miles behind. Thank you very much. 8 of Don't Stop No, eight. Wait, I thought it was Adolf. Adopt, don't shop. Blanche is a pedo protector. He is one of the pedo protectors. This would appear. Charles, he says he did mention murder in his press conference. I think it was torture and murder. By the way, Shirley Pulawoski says because Israel money. Nevitz for Forever says, my question, where and who are the current Epsteins out there now? Billionaire pedophiles don't just stop after Epstein unalived himself. That's right. That's a good question. Where have they gone to now? And we need to be just as vigilant as ever. Sonny Foles says, TJ, did you have hot dogs and chips? Yeah. I put. Yep, that was the picture I posted. Jolie sent 10 Trucker John gift memberships. Yippee, Jolie! Thank you so much. It's so nice of you to do that. You didn't have to do that, but thank you so much. I appreciate you gifting out 10 memberships. So now we got 10 more members here at the old Trucker John show. And see, we got the Safaria got one. Jenny Faye Muppet. Terry Taylor, ATT's got one. Maria Warner. Susie Ann Jones. I Smoke and I Know Things. Senior Space Ghost. Or Ghosto. Senior Space Ghosto. 4718. Human F Being. MacGyver 503 and JD Christie 2583 got one. Thank you so much, Jolie. Appreciate you. Hopefully those folks maybe they'll come in and hang out. ESRL 447 says, in my state, I now have to go outside and shovel the snow. If Trump does not succeed in his dictatorial aspirations, can he please change the weather in my state? He probably thinks he could. Just wave of a hand. He thinks he could do that. DPD 5844 says, then you have Jay-Z and Beyonce trying to flee the country and move to London. What's the trying part of it? What's preventing them? They're freaking billionaires, multi-billionaires. What is this trying? This word trying. I don't think there should be there's anything stopping them unless London or England doesn't want them. I don't know. What let them in? Anamore says, I think I did the same. I think I did see a meme of one of our USA athletes stating that everyone in America should be treated with respect and dignity. Well, that was nice of him to say that. Ruben Michael says Jeff Merkley is up for the fight. Stop it. Okay, all right. Hopefully, yeah. Jolie, member for 23 months. Happy truck anniversary, Jolie. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, and share is what Jolie reminds everyone to do. Jolie been around the Trucker John channel from the very, very early days. So thank you, Jolie, for being a longtime member and a mod, and it's the great supporter of the show. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. God's Warrior says, how do you feel about majority of truckers who are hardcore MAGA? Are they? I don't know that they are. Where are you getting your statistics? Now, granted, when I was a truck driver, I mean, yeah, even before MAGA, the majority of truck drivers would be right wing. But it might not be as much as you think. It's not like a 90-10, type of a thing. But it's not. But it's probably not a 51-49 type of a thing either. But yeah, there's certainly they are. But how do I feel about it? Oh, I'll tell you how I've felt about it even before MAGA. When they were just right-wing nut jobs and they were Tea Partiers and all that kind of shit. I thought it was pretty sad. But not really too surprising. They kind of fits the stereotype, I guess, of the redneck trucker. And most, and when you think of rednecks, you think of, being those, probably being, Republicans and all that kind of shit. So, but yeah, I don't. How do I feel about it? I don't really like it. I don't like it. I wish that were, but I will tell you that there are lots. I think there are lots more, way more than you might think. Um, at least liberal or at least moderate truck drivers out there. I was one of them. So, but a lot of those truckers. Hopefully, that were those right wing truckers, those MAGA truckers. Maybe a lot of them are, fafoing right now. DPD says Bad Bunny is a fantastic artist. I would highly recommend everyone go to one of his concerts. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Yeah, if you like that kind of music, I guess. Petrazi, mango like candy. Mango like candy. God's Warrior says, you are the second one I subscribed so far who are so enlightened. Enemy from Within. Josh is a host. Did you hear about him? I think I have heard about him. I think I have. I probably have. Anamore says, TJ, people didn't know about Kendrick Lamar either until he performed at last year's Super Bowl at halftime show. He's also is a recipient of a Pulitzer Award for music. A Pulitzer Award for music. Wow, that's true. I mean, but at least I had heard of Kendrick. Like, I'm not Kendrick Lamar's music isn't my music that I listen to, but at least I knew who Kendrick Lamar was, and I had heard some songs here and there, But Bad Bunny, I never heard of at all. Zero. It's totally zero. You David Windler says Elvis and Epstein are still alive. $1 billion fakes of death. Why would Elvis want to fake his death? Because he was tired of fame or something? I've heard these stories about Elvis and being alive, and it was because he was burned out or something, and he wanted to get out of the limelight or stop the touring or whatever, and just eat peanut butter and bananas fried sandwiches or something. I don't buy that. I guess I know a lot of that might be tongue in cheek. I don't know, but I never really bought any of that. Now the Epstein thing, I do think is way more within the realm of possibility because a he did have the means to buy his way out of it, and he was still relatively young. I mean, what was he, in his 50s or 60s when he was sentenced? So he would have the incentive, like, why spend the rest of your life in prison if you can get out? And also there probably still was a legitimate threat of him being killed the longer he was in prison, and the longer he was alive and was a threat to Trump and everybody else on that list. I don't buy the Elvis thing. I think Elvis is dead, and I think he died on the toilet the way they said he did. But Epstein, I think he could be alive. I don't know. I don't know if he is. I've never been one of the ones to say, oh yeah, he faked it and he's definitely alive. But I've always held that within the realm of possibility, and I've also thought that his death wasn't just him hanging himself or whatever. I mean, it was from the very get go. This was very suspicious. Under a Trump presidency with a Bill Barr as the DOJ, it's very, very, suspicious that Epstein, all of a sudden dies in prison. So I always felt either he did do it himself, but he was like forced to do it, like, somehow, like, do this or we're gonna, not that Jeffrey Epstein would probably care, but but we'll kill your brother or something. Or they had some threat over him, or someone, because when the cameras are off and the guards were sleeping, that someone went in there and killed him. That's what I always thought. So if Epstein's still alive, I don't brush that off. I'm not going to just, I think that's within the realm of possibility. The Elvis thing, no, he's dead, and he died in 1976 or whatever year that was. August, was it August? I almost know the date, August 15th or something. I don't know. But he's gone. So yeah, I'm not even sure if Elvis had $1 billion. By the way, maybe the equivalent of $1 billion, but in 1975, the Colonel was taking all Elvis's money, and gambling it away in Vegas here. So, Sean Tuna Sparkler here. Hello, Sean. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you. Appreciate all the sparklers for coming over and hanging out with us. We got 145 watching and 103 thumbs up. So those of you that don't know, when we have fewer thumbs ups than people watching, I will accuse you all of being skeezy, or at least acting skeezy, like skeezy Republicans, because we're operating at a deficit right now. So let's get to be a little bit more democratic, a little bit more like good Democrats, and let's get to a balanced budget. And even if you're not a Democrat, you're an independent, still, we should be more like Democrats and try to get to a balanced budget, or even a surplus if possible. Squirrel Girl says, I heard somewhere that the Dominion voting machine owners sold to a right-winger. What could possibly go wrong with that? What could go wrong there? Adopt Don't Shop says not only did, this is a kind of a follow-up to Squirrel Girl here, says not only did Scott Leondecker, a former Republican elections director in St. Louis, buy Dominion, but he immediately changed the name to a very MAGA-sounding Liberty Vote. Well, there you go. Nothing to be worried about, folks. Nothing at all. Overwhelm the system. All I can say is overwhelm the system. Make sure we all vote. No matter what, vote, vote, vote. Overwhelm the system. As well as in, I don't trust them messing with votes in Georgia. They're going to try. Overwhelm the system. Overwhelm the system. What are we going to do? We're going to overwhelm the system. Overwhelm the system. Overwhelm the system. What are we going to do? We're going to overwhelm the system. That's my new chant. Overwhelm the system. Everyone votes. Everyone vote. Vote, vote, vote. Vote, vote, vote like a bag of rats. DPD says it's climate change at its worst, TJ. Yeah, we are seeing it. Nevitz Forever says it's likely climate change driven. The Arctic is warming 3 times faster on the planet. Causes wobble in the, I don't know what ATM jet stream, what the ATM means, but anyhow, in the jet stream, which exaggerates warmth in the west and cold in the east. Yeah, the jet stream's all fucked up. That jet stream is totally FUBAR. Petrozzi, because Dinky is a media whore. Talking about the Savannah Guthrie mother's thing, yeah. Tim Farrell says, so is Trump going to give Mrs. Guthrie back? Ninang 363 says he's getting involved because it's TV. Yeah, you guys are right. You guys are all right. I still thought it was peculiar though. It still raised my eyebrows. Wait, or at least one eyebrow. Let's not get on a conversation of eyebrows though. Come to think of it. Anamore says the collab with Chris Martin, Beyonce, and Bruno Mars was fantastic during the Super Bowl halftime years ago. Yeah, that was good. I remember that. I do remember that. That was a good one. Shirley Pulawoski says Guthrie's story has Epstein ties. Wow. Really? How? How so? Is that tongue in cheek? Now, sometimes people post sarcasm and I don't pick up on it. I've been accused of not picking up on sarcasm. Was that sarcasm or something? Before I get all, indignant and be like, that's not Epstein. No. Petrozzi says Prince is the best Super Bowl halftime show. I'm sure I watched it. I don't even remember. Like I said yesterday, I really don't give a shit about the halftime show. I mean, it's nice if they have it, and it's nice, and it's entertaining, and they put on a good show. That's fine. That's dandy. It's fine and dandy, but I really don't give a shit at the end of the day. I'm just there. I'm there for the football. I don't give a shit about the commercials. I don't give a shit about the halftime show. I don't give a shit about any of that shit. I'm there to watch the goddamn football game. DBD 5844 says the kidnappers want Bitcoin, which is untraceable. There has been no proof of life either. I was referring to the plant worker, TJ. He kept his job. And bless you, TJ. Oh, thank you. I did sneeze. Yeah, when you say something without any type of reference to it, and then and then I read it like 20 minutes later, I'm probably not going to know what you're talking about. If it's just something with no reference or whatever. Shirley Pulawoski says, yeah, and Epstein was the first, or I'd he take over Ghislaine's father's business. I guess that's more sarcasm, I think. Nevis for forever, 17 minutes behind. So if an asteroid hits the Earth, you would still be reading comments as if nothing happened? Yeah, exactly. Nick Rich, 12 noon. So actually, I'm only 16 minutes behind. I'm only 16 minutes behind you, Nick Rich. I'm 16 minutes behind. And if there's an asteroid coming, I won't know about it. And boom, there you go. That's the way to go. That's the way I want it to be. Just don't even know about it. Boom. Anna Moore says DJT was spilling the tea on the Guthrie kidnapping. He was hinting that we should hear something soon. Like he has an insider? Is he trying to get the crypto? Donald Trump wants all the crypto coins. Donald Trump is the kidnapper. He wants the crypto. 70-fold says, does everyone have all their snacks, pizzas, chicken wings, dips, booze, and desserts ready? 70-folds wants to know, are you ready for the halftime Puppy Bowl show? Lug Dragon's here. Hey, Lug Dragon, good to see you. Lug Dragon says, hola. I believe that is Spanish for hello. Lug Dragon says, sorry, I was late. Well, you will have to do some detention for that. Yeah, I was watching Anna from Ukraine. Tell her I said hi. She was basically saying the same stuff Phil was saying today on Hal's show. She's a copycatter. That copycatter. Still, tell her I said hi. She just got a plaque. Well, maybe it was a couple months ago, but I saw her video where she just got her YouTube plaque for getting, I think, 100,000 subscribers or whatever it was, and I'm very jelly. I want one of those plaques, people. Let's get those subscriptions going. Come on. Come on. Let's get them going. Let's get those subs going. I want my plaque. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Give me that plaque, people. People. Bob Newell, do you enjoy driving on Las Vegas Boulevard? I don't mind it one bit. People complain and bitch and moan about the traffic. I do not. Talk about not giving a shit. I do not give one little tiny shit about the traffic on Las Vegas Boulevard. It does not bother me one bit. I don't understand why people get so uptight about traffic. Traffic is what traffic is. Traffic does what traffic does. If you're late because of the traffic, then you should have left earlier. Don't blame the traffic. Blame your fucking self. There you go. How's that for a soundbite? Nevets for Forever says the country is super saturated with right-wing radio AM stations spewing propaganda for decades. Yes, and I've talked about that. That's why I formed on Facebook a channel on Facebook called the Progressive Radio Station List. And I formed that channel. I created it 15 years ago, I guess, probably, or longer. I don't even know. The Progressive Radio Station List on Facebook, which now I believe has 545 followers. So thank you very much for the followers over there on Facebook. Progressive Radio Station List. I put that list together because as a truck driver driving around the country, yeah, this is, what did it's probably been almost 20 years ago since I put that thing together. Because all I was finding was, Rush Limbaugh in every fucking corner of the world, every fucking corner of the country. You could get a Rush Limbaugh out in the cornfields of fucking Iowa and Nebraska. You could get that, but nothing else. But then they started Air America in 2004, and I started finding some stations that were playing some progressive and liberal and left-leaning or whatever host radio shows, and that's when I saw that's where I first heard Rachel Maddow had a show, for crying out loud. Ronald Reagan Jr., of course, the great Randy Rhoads. That's where Al, what's his face, had a show, and Stephanie Miller. And then nowadays they'll say, well, we weren't really part of Air America. We were this and that, whatever. But there was a format. There were stations that were playing Air America and I guess other channels that weren't part of Air America, but they had these formats. They had these lineups that played these shows, these great shows. And so I put together a list of stations that were playing it. Now, I stopped doing the list a long time ago, probably around 2012 or so. I don't know. It was when Mitt Romney was running for president, and Mitt Romney was a part owner, I think, of Clear Channel or Cumulus or whatever. I don't know. And they started taking over these stations that were playing progressive talk show formats, and they were either replacing them with sports, even though they already had 2 or 3 sports channels in that same market, or they were putting on more Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly formats, even though they already had 2 or 3 of those in the same fucking market. So it was really sad, and it was. So the list isn't complete, or it's not accurate now, because a lot of those stations that are on the list have been shut down or changed formats. And I just got so depressed with seeing the list and how it was being destroyed that I just stopped going in and making changes to it. But I do have that list. It's still there, but it's not accurate anymore because Mitt Romney and his ilk went in and started shutting down those stations. But yeah, they've been propped up. The right wing has been propped up. Rush Limbaugh was propped up by big right wing oligarch money So was Glenn Beck. All of them. They were propped up because, in other words, by propped up, I mean they were financed. They were put on hundreds of stations, sometimes even over 1,000 stations at the peak with Rush Limbaugh. And ratings didn't matter. Now they would get good ratings because they were on this blowtorch of 24/7 radio. I mean, it was 24/7, and they were not going to be taken off the air no matter what, no matter what the ratings were. They had the big money to back them and to keep those shows going. Whereas any of the left wing stuff was just on a shoestring, and any excuse to cancel them, they would do it if the ratings weren't good or whatever. It's just a horrible difference in the treatment and the expectations and the backing. The left wing never really had the big oligarch, big money backing. Where are our oligarchs? Where are our billionaires? The only one they ever mentioned is George Soros, and he's like 100 years old. And I think he does contribute to left wing and progressive causes, but there's only so much that he could do. Where are our Koch brothers? Where are our even Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos who back all these, they're always backing right wing causes and things. We don't have that, but we do have the people. So we need to come together, and you need to come together right now and support the Trucker John channel. Make the Trucker John channel as big as Rush Limbaugh. That's what you guys need to do. That should be your guys' goal from now on. Make the Trucker John live stream as big as Rush Limbaugh ever was. Anyhow, Paul Burrows, if you date your cousin, you might not be a redneck. Why would you not be a redneck? Luck Dragon says Kendrick Lamar also beat Jay-Z's record this year for most Grammys ever by a rap artist. Congratulations then to Kendrick Lamar. Nining 363 says you got to see the movie Bubba Hotep. That sounds familiar. I think I've heard of that movie actually, but I don't remember what it was about. Like if I saw a trailer on it or something, but I do remember it looked interesting. But I don't. You might want to refresh my memory a little bit on what it's about or who's in it or something, because it does sound familiar. Oh, is that the Elvis thing explained? Oh, is Bubba Hotep? Is that the one with Bruce? What's his face from Evil Dead movies? If that's it, then I saw that, and it's just comedy. It's not a documentary. DPD says Beyonce and Jay-Z want to leave the country because his name is tied to Epstein. He has been known to embed himself with predators, Weinstein, Diddy, and R. Kelly. They want to become British citizens. Oh, okay. So they want to leave because they think that they'll escape prosecution or something. Yeah, Nina says, yeah, Elvis died of constipation, which caused a vasovagal maneuver triggering a heart attack. Petrozzi wants to know, where did the Jeffrey Epstein money go? Who got it? Well, there is an estate, because we keep hearing about the estate releasing their files and their stuff. So the money might be in a trust held by the estate, maybe? I don't know. Sandy Full says Elvis hangs around the Chicago airport, apparently. Luck Dragon says there's a picture. Yeah, we've talked about the picture, and I told everyone I've only seen it when Hal was showing it this morning. But anyhow, Luck Dragon says there's a picture floating around the internet that shows a man who looks more like Jerry Garcia with a beard than Jeffrey Epstein to me. But it's in Israel, and it's funny you would say that because that's exactly what Hal Sparks said. So it's good that you're listening to Hal Sparks. Yeah, and Luck Dragon said Hal talked about it. Yes, he did. Nick Rich says $1 billion can get you out of most predicaments. Petrozzi, yeah, okay. This is how far back I am. All the Elvis stuff. Yeah. Oh, Nevitz Forever, August 16th. I remember I said August 15th. I was just 1977. Yeah, not 75. Okay, yeah, 77. I was going on 19. I recall his death that summer. I recall it too. So I was 16 going on 17. In October, I would turn 17. And I remember this was the summer. And let's see, what grade was I in high school? Was I going from 9th to 10th or 10th to 11th? I don't remember. See, 77. I think that was 10th to 11th grade, right? Because that would be 77, 78, and 78. Yeah, because I graduated 79. So, but I remember we were riding, a bunch of my friends. I lived out in the desert in Apple Valley, California. And especially even more so then than now, it was really spread out. I mean, there were the houses. There were, if you go to your friend's house, it could be 5 miles away or whatever. And yeah, I remember we were on our bicycle bikes, not motorcycles, not cars, and we were all getting cars around that age and stuff. But I think I still was we were still riding bikes, and we still rode bikes a lot. I just remember we were riding our bikes. I think from my house to my friend's house, my friend Lyndall. I think it was to my friend. I got him in here, I think. Let's see. In my it's hard to find stuff in here. But I believe that me and this goofy guy, and I think some other friends of mine, this has taken probably a year or two, probably a couple years after the Elvis death. But anyhow, we were riding our bikes, and I remember I had just heard that Elvis died. And I remember I was actually crying. And we're riding our bike, and I couldn't stop crying as I'm riding our bikes, like from my house to my friend's house. That's my friend's house back there in the back. And they were going, "Why are you crying? What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I go, "Elvis died today." And they were like, "So?" They didn't give a shit that Elvis died. I mean, I was actually fucking crying. I was like, I loved Elvis, man. And he died today. Don't you guys care about Elvis? They didn't care. They just thought I was silly for crying over Elvis dying. Jolie's giving thumbs ups. Ruben Michaels says Epstein is hanging out with Rush Limbaugh's. Yeah, both down in hell, right? DPD 5844 says that poses a very interesting question. Why did Elvis get a free pass? Because he was a predator? Wait a minute. What, did I skip something? Am I mid-thread? People tend to ignore the fact he was a grown-ass man when he and Priscilla got together. She was 14. And you're forgetting the fact that they never did anything. They never did anything sexual until many years later. And you can say that I'm naive or whatever for believing that story, but I could call you some sort of a name, maybe I don't know, for not believing it, since there's no proof, there's no evidence. I've never heard Priscilla Presley ever say anything that would contradict that. Look, Dragon says, I was 4 years old when Elvis died. It's one of the earliest memories because my mom was crying. See? I wasn't the only one crying. She wasn't a huge Elvis fan, but she still cried. Wow. That's weird. I think you should be. Seems like you would be a huge Elvis fan to cry. Anyhow, Ruben Michaels, it will be up to white folks this time around. But the voting, the white folks got to stop voting for fucking Republicans, number one, and for assholes like Donald Trump, number two. As well as vote early. Yes, vote early. Petrozzi did not marry anyone under 15. He did not marry Priscilla until she was way of age. I don't know about Jerry Lee Lewis and Doolittle, but Elvis did not marry Priscilla when she was under 15. That's bullshit. Okay? Look, Dragon says you should be automatically you should be automatically registered to vote if you have a driver's license or even a state ID. It's up to you to go to the polls, but voting day should be the most important holiday in America. I do believe it should be a national holiday. I think registering should be your choice. It shouldn't be forced on you. I think you should, it should be maybe made available, the form there when you register or you get a license or register a vehicle, maybe, and I think it's on there, at least in California, I think in Nevada, they do have voter registration questions on there, but it should always be a choice, I think. But I do think it should be a national holiday. Squirrel Girl says, regarding Super Bowl, I would watch if I could, but they don't show on the internet. If I could watch, I'd be there for the tight ends. Just kidding. Yeah, I guess there's no play. There's no way on the internet. I guess. Ninog says he will blame it on they and the left. They, yeah, all that they, right? Yeah, they. Sandy Fold says there's a guy who dresses up and looks like Elvis and hangs out at the Chicago airport. Well, there you go. Look, Dragon says I like everything about the Super Bowl, the commercials, the halftime show, the football, everything. It's not that I don't like the commercials, and it's not that I don't like the halftime entertainment, because a lot of times I do like the halftime entertainment. A lot of times I do like the commercials. My point is, that's not what I'm there for. But there are people that would say the only reason I watch the Super Bowl is for the commercials, or the only reason I'm going to watch the Super Bowl is because of the halftime show. And I'm not that. I'm there for the football, but that doesn't mean I don't like the commercials. I think there's some hilarious commercials. Now I gotta say, I think over the last few years the commercials have been not so great. I mean, there was a time when the commercials were like really funny and really kind of special, and I think they're getting less special every year. And maybe you'll find one or two that were like, oh wow, that was so funny, or like you can't believe that they, there's a bit of shock value in there. But I don't think it's anywhere like it was even like 10 or 15 years ago, I think they were way more out there with the commercials. They were trying to be, they were sort of, controversial or whatever. Now they don't even do that anymore, for the most part. Maybe one or two. Maybe there'll be one or two good ones, but. Shirley Pulawoski says it's 25 here, wondering if my Chihuahua needs her boots. Probably does. Chihuahuas, they're already shaken, like they're freezing to death. So yeah, put some boots on the little thing just in case. Let's see. TPD 5044 says every time I hear the FBI is involved, I always think, is it the old FBI or the new FBI? The FBI used to stand for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Now it's the Federal Fool Buffoon Idiocracy. Now it's the, yeah. How about just full-blown idiocracy? Nevitz for Forever says, another great line out of Blazing Saddles. Hello, handsome. Is that a 10-gallon hat, or are you just enjoying the show? Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if you were talking about a cow or what. Madeline Kahn. Yeah, Madeline Kahn was great. Nick says 20 past the hour, so now I am 20 minutes behind. I'm getting more and more behind. I'm 20 minutes behind. Yeah. Nick Rich, I'm 20 minutes behind. Izola's in. I'm on a diet. No snacks for me. No snacks for you, Isolda. You're on a diet. There shall be no snacks for you. You got to have something. Even maybe some of those, like carrots, cut up carrots or something. Sandy Fold says eats fruits and veggies. There you go. Ruben Michaels, I was a mod with Randy for 4 years. I miss her. I was told she's doing fine. I did see a few months ago. I guess it's been a few months now, 2 or 3 months ago. She posted that. I think she said she's cancer free, which I hope that's true, and I hope she's doing well. Petrozzi, Mitt Romney is responsible for shutting down KB Toys. That bastard. Vulture capitalist. Remember that? Mitt Romney, vulture capitalist. That's what he is. Zolazin, I wish there was a hell and Rush Limbaugh was in it. Well, if there is, that's probably where he is. That's probably where he is. Deuteronomy, like Deuteronomy. Billionaires don't care about making money; they only care about keeping it. Oh, I don't know about that. I think they get to the point. I think they're greedy and they want to keep making more and more and more and more. A lot of them have a sickness. I think, like an addiction, where no amount of money is ever good enough. No, they just look at Elon Musk or whatever, and Jeff Bezos. No amount of money is ever going to be good enough for them, and they will do whatever they can to just keep making more and more and more of it, even if it fucks over the entire world. There's a sickness. Bruce Campbell, yes, that's the one. Was that the movie? Was that the Bubba Hotep thing? I remember seeing it, and I've seen it like just in channel surfing, and I thought, wow, what is this? And it was kind of funny. I just remember it was funny. It was funny. We got Richard Fitz Thomas, probably 20 minutes ago, says, hey, John, first time in post-house show from UK. Do you think the numbers in the midterms will overwhelm the fuckery that's going on? I think so. I think it will, because I think there will be a huge turnout. But fingers crossed. And we need to be vigilant, and we need to be on top of the situation in everything that they're doing. Don't let them get away with anything. Bingo, M5Q says Bill Clinton wants a public hearing, which upsets Republicans. They want Hillary to testify, and she's not in the files. Melania and her hubby and her buddy Maxwell are in the files. Just Ghislaine, just Jizzface Maxwell. Yeah. See, this tells you everything you need to know about these fucking Republicans. They just want to get Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton's name in the news and say, "Yeah, we're subpoenaing them. We want them to come in." But oh, by the way, it's going to be behind closed doors. It's going to be all secret. And the Clintons are like, "Fuck you, no, we'll do it, but it's going to be in public, in front of cameras for all the world to see. You're not going to fucking do this all behind closed doors, so then you can leak out false shit that you said or say we said." So the Clintons are really calling them out, and they're really showing what hypocrites and front running phonies these Republicans are. And James Comer is one of the main ones. DBD says Epstein's money went into a trust, which is exactly what I said, which was $577 million, which would make it more difficult for the survivors to sue his estate. I don't know why that may make it more difficult. Jolie says, I was 6 when Elvis died. I remember it because I was at my best friend's house, and my mom was sitting in their family room crying, holding one of his albums. I remember it so clearly. Yeah. Oh, man, it was devastating. I mean, not for me devastating. I cried, but I mean, I wasn't really, it wasn't, believe me, it wasn't like I was devastated. But I was sad. I was just sad. But I remember seeing like news reports of people going to Graceland and going to the gates and hanging out. And, it's kind of like when John Lennon died and everyone went to in front of the Dakota Hotel, Dakota apartment or whatever. But you can just see how Elvis had really touched so many lives, and they were so sad. And I don't think he was a pedophile. I don't think he did anything with Priscilla until she was of age. They didn't get married till she was of age, and so now he wasn't perfect. He was out fooling around on her when they got married. He was no angel, and I think you could say more bad stuff about him, about cheating on her. That's true. That's documented. But as far as like if they were fucking when she was only 14, there's no proof of that, no evidence of that. MG Daniel, in high school, I liked Elvis well enough, but I was much more into hard rock too. That doesn't mean I can't like Elvis. Elvis transcends all that shit. Elvis was the king of rock and roll. But yeah, I mean, when Elvis died, my favorite bands at that time, I think this is even before Van Halen really came out. So my favorite band was probably Thin Lizzy at that time. I was my group of bands that I really listened to was Aerosmith, Thin Lizzy, Foghat, Kiss, Peter Frampton, even ELO, which is like a prog rock, But I had there was a lot of stuff I liked, but Elvis was just Elvis, man. I think I had grown up watching Elvis, in the '60s, in his movies, his funny little movies and stuff. Elvis was like a part of the family, That's what Elvis felt like he was a part of your family. Handy Girl says, moved to Memphis 1 year before Elvis died, lived in Whitehaven. Wow. I don't know what LYKYK means, but okay. Yeah, Handy Girl says he met her when he was in Germany with the army. Yeah, she was the daughter of the CO there or whatever. God's Warrior says, I'm intermodal trucker from Chicago. Are you owner operator, and what truck and where do you drive? I don't drive anymore. I'm retired. I'm a retired truck driver. I was over the road. Just most of my driving was just a dry van, 53-foot dry van. But I did some flatbedding for a little while. I did reefer for a little while, but mainly the majority was just dry van, over the road. All 48, lower 48. The last 8 years, I was an independent contractor, and I contracted with Schneider, and I hope that's the end of the interrogation. Luck Dragon says Jerry Lee Lewis married his second cousin, or it might have been his first cousin. Elvis didn't marry Priscilla until she was of age, which was probably 16 at the time. Well, you can Google it. You can get her exact age. We don't need to say probably. As old as Jerry Lewis married his 12-year-old cousin, sexual or not, that is creepy, and I think it's creepy. And I don't think Elvis should be lumped into that. Vicky Gordon says, "Thanks, Strugger John. Gotta go. I'll be back. I'll be back. I'll be back. I'll be back." I think that's what we're going for there. Have the best of days. Well, you probably left 20 minutes ago, so I'm sorry I wasn't able to say goodbye when you left, but goodbye, and I hope to see you again, Vicky. Thanks for coming in, and hope you'll come back. And keep on coming back, or whatever they say. Handy Girl. Elvis was 32. Priscilla was 21 and 67, met in 59. So in 60, did they get married in 67? Bethany Arbaugh says, "I cried when Freddie Mercury, Prince, and George Michael died. George's death hit me hard because it was Christmas." I didn't cry when any of those people died, but I was very sad. I was very sad to hear the news. I knew Freddie. I think I knew Freddie was sick. I think he had. It seemed like that was kind of a secret for a while, and I think he had finally. It kind of came out that he had AIDS, and then it seemed like he died pretty shortly after that. But he had been sick with it for a while. But I don't think he really. I think it wasn't really, out there or whatever. And then Prince. I was very upset about Prince dying because I thought it was so unnecessary. Like, I know he was really tiny and he looked really frail right before his death. And apparently he had been, I think he got addicted to maybe oxycodone or some kind of, or pain pills or whatever. Because he had been, I guess, from all the years of touring, I guess he was starting to feel a lot of pain and he was getting on these pain pills. And I think he had just finally was really trying to address the problem and really just made, I think when he died, he was on his way to the doctor. He had an appointment to go see a doctor about getting off these drugs. And I think he died that day. And that's what was so sad about it. And then George Michael, yeah, that was sad. I was sad to hear about that. It was like, when you hear George Michael die, you're like, oh, really? Oh, man. That's sad. But I didn't cry. But it was sad. And I was saddened by all of them. And I really like Freddie Mercury. And I like Prince. And not that I didn't like George Michael. I just wasn't that into him. But still, I was just like, oh, really? That's too soon. Too soon for George. He should have lived longer. I guess, did he die of AIDS also? I'm not sure. But yeah, I was saddened. So Squirrel Girl says Priscilla was 21 when Elvis married her. So there, not 14. Luck Dragon says, now if you register for a driver's license or a state ID, then you are automatically registered to vote. Nobody forces you to vote. I didn't say anyone forced you to vote. I'm saying you shouldn't be forced to register either. I think registering should be a choice. I didn't say, not once did I say anything about being forced to vote. I said forced to register. And if you don't want to register, don't get a driver's. No, that's stupid. That's stupid. If you don't want to register, don't get a driver's license. You should be able to do either or. Come on, this isn't. Are you trying to make this like some fucking communist country? Melinda says, I remember exactly where I was when I heard Elvis had died. I was absolutely shocked and sad. Yeah, it was a sad, sad day. DVD, I understand that people loved and respected Elvis, but it's called grooming for a reason. I think you're way off base. You're way off base. It wasn't grooming. I don't think everything could be pigeonholed and, you know, I think he fell in love with her, probably a love at first sight. and he knew that she was young, and I think he purposely kind of stayed away from her for years, and waited until she was older. Ruben Michael says, I grew up listening to Elvis, Roy Orbison, and the Beach Boys on the jukebox. I remember the old jukeboxes. Yeah, TJ says, the only thing that's wrong with the Super Party are the people who say, I'm only here for the commercials. I know. I've heard that so many times. Sandy Foltz, TJ, you're working tonight. How many rides did you have last night? Yeah, I'm going to be working tonight. I got 10 last night. So I only need, what do I have? I'm up to 37. My weekly goal is 45. So I only need 8 more tonight to get my goal of 45. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. Handy Girl says Prince halftime show was great, 2007, I think. Yeah, I don't remember the year, but I remember watching it, and I'm thinking, yeah, that was really good. MJ Daniel says wealth for many is like heroin; they need more and will always need more. It is high. It is the high of the making the wealth and not the money. And I've always said, I've been saying this for years, that people who are addicted to money should be like treated like a heroin addict. And how do you get the heroin addict off of heroin? You take away the heroin. So like for these assholes like Elon Musk, we need to take away the money. Take away their money. Ninong 363 says they want to drag Hillary over Benghazi again. Yeah, they just want this horse and pony show. Yeah, but they've said, hey, they said, yeah, we'll do it, but it's got to be public and in front of cameras. So now the ball is back in your court, Republicans. Anna Moore says, the last time I voted in the local elections, they did not want to see my driver's license, but instead wanted to see my sample ballot. And only then was I able to vote. That's weird. That's weird to me. Why do they want to see your sample ballot? Were they looking in there to see how you voted? Like if you check things off and shit? Love Dragon says, DBD 58 44, you're right. I am a romantic. I like to think generations before were noble. Okay, I'm skipping down because I know I'm getting further and further behind, so I am kind of dropping down a little bit and kind of needle dropping a little bit. There's the links Aaron West put in for the Buy Me a Coffee and PayPal if you want to support the show. We've got super chats, and you can buy those memberships starting at $1.99 a month. And you can also like, subscribe, and share, which are absolutely great. They're free and they're absolutely wonderful ways of supporting the show also. Anything you guys can do would be great. DBD says, TJ, blind trusts are much harder to sue for assets, mainly because it separates the owner and the actual assets themselves by transferring control of assets to an independent source trustee. All righty. Well, that's what one would do, I guess. Squirrel says when you get a driver's license or state ID in Florida, you're asked if you want to register to vote. That's the way it is here in Nevada, and I'm pretty sure that's the way it was in California. Anyhow, it's not automatic here. I can't speak for the state. Yeah, it's not automatic. They're asked if you want to register, which I think that's fine. I have no problem with that. You should be asked, not forced. Look, Dragon, here's what everybody is missing. There used to be a law in the United States that an underage girl could get married to an overage man as long as they had parental consent. Yeah, okay. I know. Things were different. There were different times. Sandy Foltz says my mom and my aunt went to see Elvis when he was out here at the convention center. My parents saw Elvis at the San Bernardino, I think it was the Orange Show. Basically, that's just the big fairgrounds in San Bernardino. It was called the Orange Show or something like that. And I think they saw Elvis, and that was probably just a few years before he died. I think that was probably early 70s, and Elvis died in 77. It was probably about 5 years before Elvis died. So, and I think Elvis was he wasn't fat Elvis yet. I think he was still, you know, trim and good looking Elvis. And I think it was around 72. Not too far removed from the comeback Elvis and live in Hawaii Elvis. I remember all that shit. And I remember they brought home a you know how in concerts, you can get like a little booklet or whatever, and it was kind of cool, and it had all the. Of course, it wasn't from that concert, but I guess from the tour, they had a lot of pictures from his touring there around the country, and it was really cool. And I wonder if it's still. My parents have both passed away. I wonder if it's in their things, because my sister and brother have all of their things and probably in the garage in boxes or something. But I wonder if that survived. That little book survived. It'd be really cool to see it now if they still have it. Anyhow, just about caught up. I was skipping so much, I've almost caught up with the chat, I think. And there's a Squirrel Girl $5 super chat. Thank you, Squirrel Girl. Yippee to Squirrel Girl. I appreciate you so much. There's a thumbs up and a heart. So at least we got 1 out of the 5 on our goal today. 1 out of 5 is better than 0 out of 5. Duck Dragon says, if you think there's not 16-year-old girls on birth control, I don't know. Am I mid-thread? I might be mid-thread. Anna Moore says, I was also sad about Prince's dying as well. He was such a talented musician. I was really sad. I remember hearing about Michael Jackson dying, and I was kind of sad about that. I'm not a real big Michael Jackson fan. Talk about pedophiles. You want to drag Elvis's name in the mud for he fell in love with a 14-year-old girl. Granted, but by all accounts, never did anything sexually with her, and waited until she was older to get back when she was 21. I don't think that's the same as making your own little kind of amusement park in the backyard and bringing over young boys to have sleepovers with and give them grape juice with wine in it, get them drunk, and then expose yourself to them, and who knows what else do to them. I don't think those two things even compare at all, not even close. So I've never really been when I started hearing those stories, I really didn't care for Michael Jackson at all. But when he died, I was still kind of sad about it, because you think maybe the guy could have been rehabilitated or whatever. I don't know. And maybe it's not true. Maybe I'm getting false information. Maybe that wasn't really true. I don't know. So I was a little bit sad because the Jackson 5 was a big thing when I was. I think Michael and I were about the same age. I think, and seeing them watching Michael Jackson grow up, and you saw the Jackson 5 on TV shows back in the 60s and 70s. And then Michael was this big solo artist and one of the most successful solo, recording artists in the world and the history of the world. So when Michael Jackson died, I was so sad, a little shocked, because way too young, to die, really. I mean, before his time. And then when Prince died, I like Prince a lot better than Michael Jackson. But when Prince died, I was sad about that. Oh, bless my little soul. But they were both kind of, both Michael Jackson and Prince, their deaths did kind of come out of left field, they were really kind of shocking, kind of surprising, because they were relatively young. They were what? They're still in their 50s, I guess. Or how old was Prince? Maybe younger. I don't know. So yeah, it was out of left field. Even Elvis was out of left field. He was only in his 50s, I think. Nick Rich, with all this Elvis talk, it's time for a tune. You mean the only one I know? Love me tender, love me true, never let me go. I don't even know the words. Johnny Katz is here. Hey, Johnny, good to see you. Johnny Katz says the Orange Show is still there. It was the first place the Rolling Stones played in America. I paid $12 to see Guttermouth. It was awesome. Yeah, I went to. I know a lot of my friends. They would go to concerts a lot. I didn't go to too many concerts. It seems like I never had the money, even if tickets were like $5. I don't know. But I did manage to get to at least one I think I went to a couple concerts down there. And unfortunately, I mean, I guess unfortunately, I think the one I went to was Ted Nugent. Because now I can't stand Ted Nugent. Whenever a Ted Nugent song comes on the radio, I just immediately change it. I cannot listen to Ted Nugent, him or Kid Rock. But at the time, this is back in the 70s. I'm pretty sure I saw Ted Nugent there, unless I'm thinking of somebody else. But I remember, because I'm pretty sure I remember um, playing like Stranglehold or something. I don't know. I thought it was a good concert, though, to tell the truth. Jeff Curry, I just heard the singer for Three Doors Down died? Really? No way. And they were just talking about Three Doors Down on Hal's show this morning. And I don't think they didn't reference that. They were kind of joking about them because they perform at one of Trump's inauguration parties or something. Wow. Squirrel Girl Chester Bennington's death hit me hard. Yeah, that was another, out of left field. The guy unalived himself, as we say on social media. I guess we say unalived himself. God forbid we should say suicide. Now I'm going to get tagged. I'm going to get probably demonetized because I just said the S word. Anyhow, but yeah, that was a tough one. Ruben Michael says first concert was in Salem, Oregon, 1966. A band called James. What do you mean a band called the James Game? The James Game was a big band. Was playing there. They just had a big hit. The James Game was a big hit, a big band. It's not like you gotta go like, there was this band. They were called Tupelo Charlies or whatever. Okay, whatever. The James Gang. They were big. Squirrel Girl says Taylor Hawkins' death too young. Yeah. Taylor Hawkins, that was a shocker. I think Chris Cornell, I was really sad about. That was really sad. DVD says I cried when George Michael, Princess Diana. Princess Diana, I remember I was in Vegas. I wasn't living here at the time, but we were in Vegas. I was with my baby mama, and I think what year did she die? My memory gets all fucked up. I'm pretty sure my kids were alive, were born at the time, because I thought we were here, or were they not born yet? Maybe we were just here. Maybe this was before the kids. This might have been before kids, but I remember we were here in Vegas, and when I heard on the news that Princess Diana had died, and it seemed like everybody, like in Vegas, it was all the buzz. Everyone was like, "Did you hear about Princess Diana? Did you hear about Princess Diana?" It was really everyone was talking about it, and like, intrigued with finding out like what she died in a car wreck. They were chasing her. She was in a tunnel. What? She was still alive for a minute. Oh, what? And then she died. And her last words were, "Buckle up." No, I don't know. Bethany says, my daughter and I saw Elvis impersonator in the early 2000s. He was a skinny Elvis. He was great. I saw an Elvis impersonator at least once. I may have seen more, but I know on my honeymoon, we went to Hawaii and we saw an Elvis impersonator show in Hawaii. I think it was Hawaii. And he was really good. I'm pretty sure it was Hawaii. Yeah. That we saw the impersonator. Kelly, if you're watching, that was where it was, right? In Hawaii. That we saw the Elvis impersonator. And I remember back then I could do a much better Elvis. For some reason, my Elvis isn't as good anymore, but I could do a pretty good Elvis back then. And I remember Kelly took me to, she wanted me to go to the Elvis impersonator show, and I wanted to go. I mean, but she knew that I liked Elvis and that I did impersonation, and she was always saying stuff like, "Oh, you could do better than him," or whatever. I know, it was just kind of funny. Ruben Michaels, Joel Walsh, Leave Me Alone, Mike was the guitar player and lead singer. Yes. He's a big man. DBD, I didn't cry over Michael. Bless you, TJ. I didn't cry either, but I was sad about it, even though I thought Michael was a pedophile. Because I think, Michael got really messed up by his dad. And by just, I think there was some stunted, what do you call it, development there. So I kind of felt sorry for Michael Jackson. But I don't, talk about not giving a pass. You don't want to give a pass to Elvis. I don't think we should give a pass to Michael Jackson either, though. But I do think that he was a whole can of worms there, or whatever, with shit going on in his life. DPD says Prince, the king of Purple Haze, was 57 years old when he died. He would be 67 years old. Wow. So Prince would be a couple years older than me. Luck Dragon says my favorite band is Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and Slayer. Even I know Prince rocked that halftime show. Oh, Prince could fucking shred on a guitar. I wish he would have done more of that in his recordings, because it seems like I only see kind of live performances where he just would fucking shred. He was as good as Jimi Hendrix, I think, as far as that's concerned. DPD says she passed in 1997. TJ, who passed in 97? Who's the she that passed in 97? I don't know. See, I don't even know. It's something from 20 minutes ago, and I'm not sure who passed in 1997. What she were we talking about? I don't even know what woman we were talking about. What woman were we talking about that died in 1997? It wasn't Priscilla Presley, so I think she's still alive. God Warrior says, have you ever tuned to channel 125 XM Patriot and listen? Mike Lavin, he makes me vomit. Did you experience the same sensation? I didn't listen to that. I didn't have XM. I tried XM radio. I guess it was XM or whatever the other one was, satellite radio, for a couple short periods of time. I just found it to be kind of annoying. Maybe the technology is better now, but back in the early 2000s, it seemed like there was just too many spots where it would go out. And I'm like, I'm better off just trying to find a over-the-air station. So my experience with XM or any of those was very short-lived, and I don't recall Mike Lavin at all. So I don't even know what he's about. Look, Dragon says, I was born in the dirt. I guess this is a song. I never had no home, and the places I lived you don't want to know. I'm evil. Don't you mess around with me. That's my favorite Elvis song. Okay. Sandy Foltz, Michael Jackson's dad, Joe Jackson, was very mean to Michael. Yeah, it seemed like he was a real bastard. Oh, Diana. Okay. I should have known. Now I feel embarrassed. Yeah, because I went off on a whole thing about Diana. Okay, yeah. So you said 97. Oh, yeah, that was. My daughter was not born yet, so we might have been pregnant with my son at that time when she died. I think, or maybe he was born already. Maybe he was a baby. You know what? He might have been a baby. What month did she die in 97? Well, I don't think because my son was born in September. This might have been before September, so my son might not have been born yet. Yeah, scroll. Okay, yeah. I don't know why I blanked out on Diana, but are you guys buffering? Lug Dragon says my phone always messes up when my girlfriend is approaching the house. Oh, okay. And Michael was a pedophile. Bethany says Diana died in 1997. My daughter was baby. I got home from visiting my parents, turned on the TV, and learned about her death. So sad. Yeah, it was so sad. I think my baby mama was pregnant with our son, maybe. But I think we were in Vegas. She was pregnant. Well, was this before she was pregnant? But anyway, I don't know. We were there August 31st. Wow. So we were very pregnant in 97. About what, like 7 months pregnant, or 8 months. But I guess 7 or 8 months pregnant. But we were in Vegas, and I remember that when Princess Diana died, and talking about it, going to buffets and talking about that, trying to see a TV somewhere and seeing what was going on, you know. All right, guys. So I have reached the end. This is the end. Boom, boom, boom. The end, my friend. And we've gone over 2 hours. We're at 1:16 p.m. Probably should button things up so I can get ready for work and go to worky turkey. Get my 8 rides in. Of course, I'll do more if but I want to get a minimum of 8 rides. Get my 45 for the week. Big Hook, hey, Big Hook, the Big Canuck. Are you rooting for Seattle? I'm not rooting for either team. I don't like either team. I'll just be watching the game and enjoying the Super Bowl. But I don't like either team, so I hope they both lose. I didn't have coffee this morning because I had a coffee issue. I was brewing some coffee as I was doing the intro, and for some reason, I don't know why, I don't think I double filtered. I thought I only put one filter in, but you know how you put the filter in, and then you put the coffee in the filter, and then there's water in the thing. I already put water in the water tank thing. Turn it on. It's brewing, and while I'm doing other stuff, and I made a little breakfast sandwich, and I was getting ready, and then I go to get the coffee, and again, this has happened 2 or 3 times now. Like very little of the coffee actually went down into the pot. It just stayed all up into the filter. Now, the first time that happened, I think I double filtered, and so it wasn't filtering through. The second time, maybe the other time I double filtered too, but I'm conscientious of that, of trying to make sure I don't double filter. I thought for sure I did not double filter. I'm not sure. I haven't investigated it. It's still sitting there. I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at that coffee machine, that coffee maker. I'm like, oh, you mother, father, whatever. and so I didn't have time to mess with it to make another try to make another pot coffee. So I had no coffee. So if I'm a bit crankier than usual, actually I think I'm less cranky today. So. Jeff Curry, I'm rooting for a triple overtime game. Luck Dragon, I'm just kidding. It was hella messed up. It's like she was being chased by paparazzi and ended up dying in a tunnel. It was really bad. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Bethany, have fun at work. That's what I tell my daughter. DBD says, no, don't say that, TJ. I bet on the Seahawks. Well, then, good luck. Okay, well, if I was going to pick a winner, I don't know. The Seahawks, are they favored? The Seahawks are probably favored. I haven't even looked at the betting lines or who's favored. So I would just guess that the Seahawks are probably favored. Were they favored by 3 or something like that? But I would say that if I was going to bet on a team, I would probably bet on the Seahawks. But I don't know. You just never know. Sandy Foltz, I'm going for New England. DBD says, thank you, TJ. As old as in, $4 super sticker. Thank you, as old as in. Yippee to as old as in, $4. I appreciate you so much. And then there's the sticker has, I think, given me a cup of coffee, which I need, and I'm going to go fix that. Big Hook says, JD Vance really heavy on the eyeliner at the Olympics. I was wondering, because the other day Hal had made a comment about JD Vance's guy liner, and why does he do it? Why does he wear it for certain things, or not other things, or whatever? And I was just wondering, don't they have permanent makeup or whatever? If I was going to wear guy liner, and I was a guy liner guy, I think I would just go with the permanent makeup, so that I don't have to apply it all the time. Now the other day I had a couple, I guess, or some people in the cab, and I don't know how we got in the conversation, or I guess how they got on the conversation, but all right, I guess the lady in the car, she was saying something about permanent eyebrow makeup, and you guys know my issue with my eyebrows. So I chimed in. I go, they have that? And she goes, yeah, you can get permanent eyebrow, so you have permanent eyebrows. And then I was like, I need that. And they all kind of laughed. And I go, no, really, because I have no eyebrows. And because I guess the guy was making fun of her for doing that, or wanting to do that. And so I was like, I would do it. And she's like, see, I'm not the only one, or whatever. But maybe I should get some permanent eyebrows put on, because my eyebrows, you can barely see my eyebrows, and I think it just looks funny being without eyebrows. It's like what happened? Did your eyebrows get burned off or something? So there's that. There's that. As well as an eyeliner tattoo? No way in hell. Well, is that what it would be? Would it be like applying a tattoo? That would be pretty risky. Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to do that with the eyeliner, but the eyebrow thing, maybe. I might get some permanent eyebrows. DPD says yes, TJ. Permanent lip liner, eyeliner, and eyebrows. Surrender Monkey says they are tattoos. Hey, Surrender Monkey, that brought Surrender Monkey. We're talking about permanent eyebrows, and oh boy, old Surrender Monkey's jumped in. Had to jump in. Yeah, good old chummy. Surrender Monkey. Chip, hooray. Surrender Monkey loves it when I do English accents. Surrender Monkey, I know, just puts him in a just in such happiness. So, Surrender Monkey says no, they are tattoos. Well, you just said that. You said that twice now. Look, Dragon says Janelle. Oh well, sorry, you can't be my little Tinkerbell. Okay, I guess these are more song lyrics. Surrender Monkey, I have lots. I have lots of tattoos, bloke. You bloke. Is that how English people talk? I've got lots of tattoos, bloke. Hey, bloke. Hey, you bloke. I got lots of tattoos. But I ain't got not one on my eyebrows, you bloke. Snanford says JD has it. If JD had it, no, he has what? He has permanent eyeliner. Squirrel Girl says my dad used to take my mascara and blacken his mustache. He was starting to get gray. That's funny. That's funny. Did I ever tell you the story when I used a Sharpie on my this mustache and goatee and everything? It started going gray, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And so I used to use the Just for Men. Because I had a little bit more hair on my head, and the hair on my head it still isn't like all gray. It's pretty. What's left of it? It's pretty dark still. Yeah, I'm getting a little gray in the sides here, but most of the hair up here and back here, it's all really, dark brown, I guess, or almost black, but it's very dark. So I thought, I would just keep dyeing this, and then when this started going gray, and then I would stop. But it seemed like this really isn't good. Isn't maybe someday it'll all be completely bald, or someday I'll be completely gray. But anyhow, eventually, finally, a few years ago, I just stopped doing it. I think when I turned 60, I think I said either this is going to go gray, or when I turn 60, I'll stop dyeing this. So it's been a while now. I think it was when I was turned 60, I stopped dyeing this. So it's been 5 years already. And so probably for at least probably less than 10 years, but probably a good 7 or 8 years before that, I was dyeing it because it wasn't all gray. It was like, and that's another thing. Like there was little patches of gray. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to start using the Just for Men and make it just even and match my hair in the back and all that kind of stuff. And so one day this is later when it was almost, I think it was all gray. But I was dyeing it with the Just for Men. And I remember I was on my way home for some home time, and I had been dyeing this, like, so no one knew that I had any gray. Not even my kids, I don't think, knew that this was going gray, because I had been dyeing it for 8 years or whatever. 7 or 8 years. And so I remember I was going home for some home time, and I had ran out of the Just for Men, and I hadn't dyed it in a while, and it was turning gray, because it only lasts for, within a few days it starts to fade, and I could usually go a week, maybe a week and a half, and get away with it, but you should probably do it sooner than that. Maybe at least once a week you should probably redo it or whatever. But yeah, I had ran out. I hadn't done it for a while, and so there was all this gray in my beard. And so, and I was like, I don't want to just all of a sudden have gray, So I got a Sharpie, and it was a black Sharpie. And I remember I colored my beard and my mustache and everything with this black Sharpie just before I went over to see my kids when I was at home, for my home time. and it looked horrible. I mean, it looked like it just was weird. This weird black, because the Just for Men is really like a dark brown, and so but I didn't have a dark brown Sharpie, but I had a black Sharpie, and it came out really weird. I mean, I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh my god, what have I done? And I remember, so I was home for the weekend, and my kids never said anything, but they were looking at me funny, like, what's going on? There's something different about you. And then I think eventually they said something. They said something. Something was up, but they never could figure it out. And I was just kind of laughing, like, what? I was like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Anyhow, so it was kind of embarrassing. But anyhow, so I colored my beard with a black Sharpie. And it came out really weird, kind of really weird looking. DPD says, I had a friend who had a vampire facial. I don't know what that is. Where you use your own blood to stimulate your collagen. It's supposed to rejuvenate the skin to prevent wrinkles. I'm glad black doesn't crack. Well, did it work? Did it work? Because if it worked, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get a vampire facial. As long as it's not, it doesn't require a real vampire. Did it work? If it worked, then let's all do it. Let's all do it. Surrender Monkey says, my brother used to be ginger. He's happier now. He's bald. That is a person who has given up on life. No, I'm just kidding. I'm only kidding. Josh says, laughing out loud, face full of shoe polish. Well, it wasn't shoe polish. It was a Sharpie. And it wasn't all over my face. It was only on the whisker part here. This part, and this part, and this part. And I guess this part. It wasn't all over my face. Luck Dragon says, I was waiting for at least one athlete to come out from Greenland. The amount of cheers would have been better than the amount of cheers for Ukraine. Slava Ukraini. Slava Ukraini. Slava lava lava Ukraini. Yeah, you should have seen Trucker John. I remember those days when he used to dye the old beard. Pretty pathetic, Trucker John. Pretty fucking pathetic. Dyeing the old beard. And then you stooped to such a low level. Or used a Sharpie. Oh my God. What were you thinking? You pathetic loser. Hey man. This is coming from a guy who wears a green bow tie. So, you know. But I do commend you now. You just let it go, man. You let it go gray. Gray all the way is what they always say. Don't they? I don't know. I'm not sure what they say anymore. But yeah, I remember the old Sharpie trick. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember it well. Those were good times. I have to say, I've never, ever, ever had to resort to such tactics. My illustrious purple sparkly beard has just maintained this color. I guess I'm fortunate that it'll always be this way. It's a genetic blessing, perhaps. I don't know. God forbid that I should ever have to resort to using a Sharpie to get this beautiful purple beard. So I do feel for you though, Trucker John. I feel for you. But yeah, thank goodness that I've been blessed with a purple beard that never goes gray. It gets sparkly. Don't confuse those sparkles with gray, because it's not. And ignore the gray mustache that you see underneath it. I don't know what's going on. That's some sort of a there's a glitch. There's a glitch in the Matrix, I believe. Probably. Kind of, sort of. Anyhow, there we go. I just wanted to pop in and give my 2 cents worth. Everyone, but thank you all for being here today. You guys are awesome. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Trucker John just is always crying about that, so it must mean something to him. So get those hit that subscribe button. That'd be awesome. And share the show. And again, thank you all for being here. There's my little heart there. All right, thanks, Beard Guy and Tough Cookie. Thanks for such heartwarming thoughts there from the old Tough Cookie and the Beard Guy. Staffer says, hope you don't get a Sharpie frat stash during pass out nap. Me too. Fortunately, I'm not in a frat. So, you know. Elizabeth Martinez, thank you, John. Ice skating. Are you ice skating, Elizabeth Martinez? Well, have fun. Ice skating is a fun thing to do. So, did my mic go out? Why is Luck Dragon saying? Okay, it's still on. Right? Did my mic go out? Yeah. I don't know why Luck Dragon. I guess that was sarcasm. That must have been. Is that sarcasm? Luck Dragon says I can't recognize sarcasm. Maybe that was sarcasm. About mute your next comment. So, I don't know. Elizabeth says I forgot to say. Oh, on the Olympics I'm watching. Oh, that on the other side. Oh, okay. I thought you were ice skating. All right, guys, that's it for today's show. Only thing left to do is the words of wisdom. So, guys, there's some new people still in here. This is where we get a pad, get a pen. Write down these words of wisdom. They're really good. A lot of people are writing them down because they're so good. You might want to do this also. And I'll see you guys again. Maybe I'll come back on a Monday. Maybe I'll try to go back to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Thursday, Friday. But work. I got to work, so I'm always trying to work around schedule workaround and all that kind of stuff. But be on the lookout for the old Trucker John show. I might be on Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. So hit that notification bell, hit that thing, and or whatever they call it, and maybe you'll get notified. And a good way to remember also is I'm usually on right after Hal at 11 a.m. So maybe make this your regular stop right after Hal. Don't go to fucking Schechter. No, I don't know. But you might want to come out and check us out, give us a like and a subscribe, and say hello and all that kind of stuff right after Hal on Monday. All right, guys, I'll see you then. Words of wisdom. Oh yeah, don't forget the words of wisdom. Are you guys ready for the words of wisdom? Okay, so first of all, guys, just remember today's words of wisdom.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes. Might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes. But if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to write. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, it's time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs. Shining a light on all the social issues. No shrugs, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. In my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills. It's about staying in the hunt. It's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road. That's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road. Just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret. It'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. It's so damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, Everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot. You're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along.
Show's over. I'm out of here, folks. Bye.